Jonah Hill can't do anything right.
Where you at,
Jonah
Berto?
Hill once said, "I think I'm pretty good at making movies, but I am not good at being a famous person," and then spent his whole career proving exactly that. Everybody has a different perception of Jonah. Some see him simply as a comedy film legend. Some see a self-important Nepo baby who
Top Jonah Hill movie, Superbad, 21 Jump Street, and I mean, bro, he's so good in a lot of them. And Pineapple Express. Those are probably my top 3. But yo, his performance in fucking Wolf of Wall Street though, come on now. This nigga is a legend. I can't cap.
takes himself too seriously. Others see a toxic man-child who weaponizes therapy speak to control his girlfriend. And if they aren't talking about any of those things, they are hyper-focused on his weight loss and weight gain, gawking at him like some sort of zoo animal. Over the years, Jonah has attempted to respond to all of the hatred towards him, but every time he does, things only get worse. Critics and fans never seem to be satisfied, making it seem like he just can't do anything right.
I came up in goofy comedies and this kind of curly-haired, overweight kid, and everyone had their own opinion on what I should be, how they could speak to me, how they could treat me.
Jonah Hill went from a complete nobody to securing roles in countless early 2000s comedy bangers. The 40-Year-Old Virgin, Grandma's Boy, Click, Accepted, Knocked Up, Evan Almighty. In 2 short years, he became a reliable secondary or tertiary character that would give audiences funny moments.
Ask me about my winner!
However, it's unsurprising that Jonah got so many opportunities early on, considering he fits the standard definition of a Hollywood Nepo baby.
I feel like something about him that was just so funny is he was never afraid to be the butt of the joke. And, I don't know him personally. I don't know his character or nothing like that. And that's why this video really interested me, because I'm a fan of his work. But it's very rare you have a personality where they can really just embrace being the joke. I am the joke. Yes, go ahead, laugh. I don't care. That's the point. And to a degree, I could respect that from a creative standpoint. But again, I don't know about his personal life at all. So let's see.
Jonah's father, Richard Feldstein, is an extremely successful Hollywood business manager.
I did not know that.
Who manages the business and financial affairs of high net worth and high income clients.
Oh, so
Richard started as an accountant for various Hollywood acts and notably served as the accountant for the iconic rock band Guns N' Roses.
But Nepo baby or not, bro's talented. You can't act like he's not talented.
Jonah's mother, Sharon Feldstein, is a costume and fashion designer in Hollywood. Her first big job was working as an assistant to Mr. Daniels, who was the executive producer, on the set of the popular 70s and 80s show Taxi, and from there worked on various popular 80s and 90s TV productions. Jonah grew up in Hollywood, and with his parents' connections, he had too big of an advantage to fail. Then again, he proved to the world that his parents weren't the only reason he would be successful after his hilarious performance in the smash hit Superbad. Superbad was written by Seth Rogen and his childhood best friend, Evan Goldberg.
Seth Rogen is funny as shit too.
Are you caught by the fucking door? Are you fucking serious? Nigga saw the clip, instantly crashed out. Fuck.
Live streaming on Twitch, link in the description.
To loosely resemble their real
They honestly, Seth Rogen and Jonah Hill, to me, they are very similar characters in Hollywood, are they not?
experiences as teenagers. Teenage Seth would be played by Jonah Hill, making it his first leading role on a major Hollywood set. Jonah knew this was his biggest opportunity to date, so he wanted to make sure everything went perfect. He did not hold back from letting everyone know that he did not want Christopher Mintz-Plasse to get the role of Fogel, aka McLovin. Immediately after Chris's audition, Jonah Hill was like, not that guy. In the film, Seth and Fogel have animosity towards each other, which was also the case behind the scenes. Seth Rogen said, Jonah effing hated him. He was all over Jonah's lines, completely disrespectful of the process, probably due to a lack of experience. Then Jonah said, Chris just immediately shut me down, so combative. I was really annoyed because this guy wouldn't let me say anything.
Jonah Hill hated me so much after my audition. I walked out. I get it. I was 17. I was not a professional actor. I kind of went in, I was in high school and we're playing high school kids. So like Jonah's roasting me. And you remember being in high school, you were just like, yeah, it's my buddy roasting me. It's not gonna bother me. I'm gonna roast him back. And that's what I did in the audition. And I left the room. I was like, oh my God, Seth signed my script. Nothing's gonna happen, oh my God. And Jonah's like, that guy. To like Judd Apatow and Greg Mottola and Seth Rogen, he's like, that guy, don't cast that guy.
What the hell?
And they all said, we gotta cast that guy.
After Jonah told director Judd Apatow not to hire Chris, he said, "That's exactly why we're hiring him. It couldn't be more perfect. The fact that it bothers you is exactly what we want." And their intuition was right. Jonah despising Chris only helped the hilarious dynamic between their characters on screen.
Can you say something to me?
I wasn't with you when you parked.
Yeah, but dude, you saw from afar that I was parking there. You should have said something.
I didn't think we were gonna be that long, man. You're so stupid.
Since McLovin became nothing short of a cultural icon after the movie's release, Jonah's contempt for him makes him seem like a jealous co-star in hindsight. Despite having far less screen time than Jonah, McLovin stole the spotlight. Maybe Jonah knew Chris was great and tried to prevent his casting to make himself look better. Or maybe he was just young, working on a life-changing project, and his stress was through the roof. But you'll notice Jonah's petty behavior would grow to become more of a pattern as the years went on. Jonah's role as Seth is considered by many to be the best work of his entire career. He delivered countless hilarious moments that remain quotable 20 years later.
Hey, Greg, why don't you go piss your pants again?
That was like 8 years ago. Oh,
People don't forget.
Superbad became one of the most successful, and my personal favorite, early 2000s comedy films, securing $300 million when including revenue from DVD sales.
Shit.
Unfortunately, it also cemented Jonah Hill as the funny fat guy of Hollywood.
Jonah, do you think it's important to be unattractive to be funny?
Imagine a nigga asking you that, bro. I'm crashing out. Did you just ask me if the only reason people like me is because I'm funny and fat? Why? What? I'm crashing out on the interview, bro. You don't even know what to say after that.
Can skinny people be funny?
I don't think it has to do with like anything besides just being funny and like being yourself.
How heavy were you in Evan Almighty?
I just don't think it's like I don't think it has anything to do with like what.
Even though that interview clip was a comedic sketch, it does accurately reflect the way reporters and the general public treated Jonah. Hollywood determined that his weight was a defining trait that made him valuable. He often got cast as the overweight, awkward guy who constantly was the butt of the joke. It even defined his iconic role in Superbad. But unfortunately for Jonah, his on-screen image also defined his real life too. You see, comedies have a way of blurring the line between the character and the real-life actor. Comedy films.
Because the thing about things that are funny, there's always a little bit of truth in the joke. I feel like the fun. That's why I love dark humor so much, because the more true it is, the more it's funny.
Often look like normal people hanging out and saying funny things. And because of that, audiences often assume what they're seeing is just an exaggerated version of the actor's real personality. And for Jonah, that meant a lot of people didn't see him as someone playing a role. They saw him as the funny fat guy. And nobody knew it yet, but Jonah despised this. And he knew if he kept accepting the role as the funny fat guy, then he would never be able to escape this caricature of himself. From there, he did take on secondary roles in films like Strange Wilderness, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, and Funny People, but none matched the success of Superbad. And while voice acting roles in How to Train Your Dragon and Megamind kept him paid, in 2011 he made efforts to establish himself as a legitimate actor after he landed a major role in the sports drama Moneyball alongside well-respected actors like Brad Pitt and Philip Seymour Hoffman. Moneyball was one of those rare films that was loved by both critics.
I never watched this. I'm literally actually going to take a photo of this right now, because what the fuck? I might need to check that out.
And fans. Jonah's performance was so great, it earned him his first Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actor, which you could tell he felt was a major highlight of his career.
I hope it never sinks in a real way, because it's just so exciting, and you know, for my family. And when you say you want to become an actor, it just, you know, you shouldn't ever do things for awards or things like that.
It's really good,
chat.
chat.
You love them, but something like this just says, hey, you're maybe supposed to be doing the profession you're doing.
But Jonah still had a lot to prove, even to his co-star Brad Pitt. In a promotional interview for Moneyball, Brad heavily implied that Jonah was not a serious actor.
If you could adopt a personality trait or mannerism from one of your Moneyball co-stars,
What would it be?
What would it be? A personality
Any one of
trait.
them. If they're sitting right here, that could be one of them. If it's Phil Hoffman, whatever.
No. I got to go with a serious actor.
Okay.
Damn, Brad Pitt. Shit. I ain't gonna lie, bro. This nigga Jonah Hill almost has every right to be an asshole. Everybody just fucking disrespecting cuz.
As if his co-star calling him unserious wasn't bad enough, Jonah's worst nightmare started coming true. Instead of his performance being the main topic of conversation, his physical appearance was becoming central to his identity. After Moneyball, he started trying to slim down a bit.
I'm honestly starting to feel worried about Jonah Hill watching this, because now he looks so skinny. And it kind of looks like in an unhealthy way. And I hope it's not. But I always used to, anytime I saw videos and pictures of Jonah Hill, like, were super slimmed down, it looked like, yo, is he good? Is he healthy? And now looking at all this stuff, it's like, nah, that shit probably really affected him, man.
And tabloids about Jonah frequently made comments about his weight, writing things like, Jonah Hill looks like he's regained all the weight he lost a while back and his fans couldn't be happier? Hey, they're just thinking about his career, implying that he can't be considered funny if he loses weight. You could tell that Jonah tried to downplay his weight loss, as he definitely did not want all of his interviews to devolve into just talking about his body.
All my friends were in college. So I was living like a frat guy. Like everyone was just drinking beer and eating pizza with all my friends. And you know, as I mature, you know, even with this movie, I'm maturing as an actor. And
pretty sure he just took Ozempic for a while. Yeah, I heard that that's what Ozempic does. Like, it will make you lose the weight, but because it's so unnatural, like, it ends up leaving your body looking kind of weird.
And growing up, and in front.
Again, YouTube, we're not looking to harass nobody. We're not looking to, you know, promote, you know, making fun of people, but we're just having an honest conversation and analyzing what's going on. YouTube, you got that? For the human reviewer that watches this video and is gonna try to, you know, do us dirt even though we did nothing wrong. Come on, man, just have a brain. Have a brain when you're watching the video. We're just having a conversation here.
In front of everybody's eyes, it's like you just a certain time where you go, all right, it's time to be a responsible adult. You've got to be stop being a kid at some point.
Was there build up to it, or was it just like one day? And
no, it was one day. I made a
Wow.
like looked up a nutritionist and called him up and went. And
do you mind me asking how much weight you've lost? Or
I don't mind at all. I just don't know. I didn't know before or after, whatever.
Did you ever worry that people would perceive you differently? I talked to Seth about that when he lost a bunch of weight. You know?
No, you know, it's so funny. I think people make such a big deal about that, but I think if anything, it's like you can do all kinds of parts now. You know, it's like when you're a big guy, you can't play a thin guy.
You're limited.
It's impossible unless you use that,
but
like Captain America digital stuff or whatever.
Are you getting hotter chicks?
Oh man, no man, don't worry about that.
Don't worry about that.
I you know, have a lady. That's great.
But eventually, he would shut down interviewers bringing up the subject completely.
But are you still considered the fat guy when you go to a party or anything? Because I run into that a whole lot. I'm the fat.
He didn't even laugh when was asked that question. Just like literally looking at her like, come on, bro. Are we serious?
That one. So are you the fat guy in Hollywood still, or is everybody like look at you and they're like, oh wow, you know, this is great, now you're healthy?
Do you have any other questions that are smart?
For a while, Jonah handled these types of comments like a pro, laughing it off or just avoid engaging with it at all. Because when you're a celebrity of his scale, there's a pressure to stay composed. Don't overreact or give anyone a moment they can turn into a headline. Because if they crash out, then that becomes the story. Jonah eventually started giving critics a piece of his mind, which did not fix anything. It actually made his life much worse. After meeting Jonah in person back in 2012, CNN anchor Don Lemon tweeted, "Said hi to Jonah Hill in a hotel. Think he thought I was a bellman. I didn't know his name till the bellman told me. A lesson to always be kind." And before we get into Jonah's response, this tweet is a perfect example of how Jonah Hill simply could not do anything right to satisfy the media. In the same breath, Don downplays Jonah Hill by saying he didn't even know who he was, essentially implying that he's not that important, but still expects Jonah to respond to him with a certain level of warmth and respect. It's this weird double standard standard where a celebrity can be reduced to just some guy but still expected to act like a celebrity. Unfortunately, Jonah's response only further painted him as emotionally insecure. I said, "Hi, what do you want me to do? Move in with you? I was in a hurry. Didn't realize you were a 12-year-old girl. Peace." He continued, "I walked out of the restroom and found you waiting for me. Shook hands, said hi, and was on my way. Sorry if you found that rude." Don replied, "Was waiting for luggage. Bellman and I laughed at how self-important you were. Just being honest. Be nice. Start."
The fuck? Yo, why is everybody on Bros Johnson like this? Because he was a Nepo baby? Like, what is it? You know, I give respect where respect is due. Like, okay, he's a Nepo baby, cool, but bro is clearly talented. You know what I'm saying? He's proven to us he knows what to do when he gets in front of the camera. Like, come on, man. Put some respect on his name. I haven't seen nothing so far in this video where it's like Jonah deserves any of this.
Stardom is fleeting, but Don couldn't be more wrong about his stardom because Jonah was skyrocketing in success at the time, proving he was still a comedy powerhouse with the release of 21 Jump Street, which grossed over $200 million at the worldwide box office, and once again gave us hilarious moments that will be quoted for a lifetime.
We're not finger popping each other's assholes. What we're doing is getting done.
But as Jonah's star power increased, his inability to let things roll off his shoulders would get worse as time went on. In 2013, Jonah was interviewed by the Rolling Stone alongside Seth Rogen in anticipation of
this movie was funny. If you haven't watched this, it's like stupid funny though. So if you're not in the mood for stupid funny, then maybe don't check it out. But this is the end. This one is a good one to watch when you just ain't got nothing else to watch. You're at the crib kicking it, want a good little laugh. Very funny.
His upcoming film, This Is the End, which is a stoner comedy about a bunch of potheads facing the apocalypse. However, the interviewers seemed entirely unhappy with Jonah's responses. "Seth," we say, coming out of our reverie. "No, I'm Jonah," Hill says blankly. That's a great way to start. We blanch, sputter, cough, and try to explain ourselves, but Hill is apparently in no mood to cut anyone any slack, which may just be how he is. He is serious. He is. Which I'm not, and neither are Franco or Danny, Rogen had told us. By starting the interview off referring to him as Seth.
It's not a horror movie though. It's not a horror movie. Like, I mean, I guess it is, but it's a comedy, bro.
Jonah is being reduced to the Superbad character people refuse to let him outgrow. And the moment he pushes back, not even aggressively, just correcting it, now he's the problem. Because to the interviewers, they were just joking. They try to break the ice and begin talking about exercising, to which Jonah replies, "My workout routine is of little relevance." For a while, they converse with Jonah and it goes smoothly until they ask a question that pisses him off. Like when they asked, "What kind of a farter is he?" His eyes nearly jump out of their sockets. "I'm not answering that dumb question. I'm not that kind of person. Being in a funny movie doesn't make me have to answer dumb questions. It has nothing to do with who I am."
I ain't gonna lie. I feel like what's happening here is completely justified. So far, Jonah has not crashed out. You know, he might express some irritation, show some frustration, but he still is answering these questions with class. And it's just like, look, man, I'm not going for the bullshit. Can y'all just treat me like a human being? Like, relax. And you know what I'm saying? If Jonah does crash out at some point, I'm not even mad at him, bro. Go ahead. Yeah, I think we're all human. At a certain point, it's like, all right, bro. Y'all gotta feel me. Y'all think I'm a fucking joke? Watch this.
Jonah continued, "I've done one of the biggest challenges you can do in Hollywood, which is transition from being a comedic actor to being a serious actor, and I'm really prideful of that. I could have made $1 billion doing every big comedy of the last 10 years and didn't, in order to form a whole other life for myself. Now I have fulfillment doing both." The authors of the article then wrote, "That being the case though, you'd think he'd be able to relax a little bit, open up, take it easy." Once again, Jonah...
I mean, yeah, that might be true, but like, fuck, man. Y'all been fucking poking the bear the entire ride.
...is in a situation where he cannot win. The interviewers expected him to act like the same goofy, raunchy character he played on screen because that's what people associated him with. If he leaned into it, he'd just reinforce the exact stereotype he was trying to move away from. But
celebrity interviews have changed so much because I promised this wouldn't slide in 2026. You know, that's a fact. And I think it's with just the rise of social media in general now, where like creators and celebrities just have a lot more control of their image and, you know, what they're putting out there, that definitely wouldn't slide anymore.
The moment he tried to take himself seriously, he came across as uptight and rude. Then again, some people think Jonah's attitude comes across like he is doing this Daniel Day-Lewis level method acting. He did 2 serious dramas at this point, and the rest were comedies. He still had a lot of work to do to prove his dynamic range as an actor. Jonah was so determined to be taken seriously that he took a minimum salary of just $60,000 to play as Donnie alongside Leo DiCaprio in The Wolf of Wall Street. Not only did he know the movie would be a hit and help him build a new reputation in Hollywood, but he wanted to work with one of the greatest directors of all time, Martin Scorsese.
As far as Jonah Hill's concerned, yeah, I met him in Mexico, and he basically said to me, I know people like this. I know what these people represent in the culture. I've met people like this, and there's nobody on earth that should play this character except for me. I'm the man for this job. And I said, no, I hear you. He's like, no, you don't understand. This is my favorite script I have ever read in my life, and I'm destined to play this. So
That's kind of funny. Paralleling. Why can't I say it? Paralleling. That's not the word. Paralleling? What the fuck? Am I trying to make up a word right now? I'll just rephrase the sentence, I guess. That's funny hearing this parallel compared to the character that he actually played in the movie. And that scene where Jonah goes up to Bro and is like, yo, if you show me a check right now if you show me a check right now of you making this much, I'll quit my job right now. Like, I'll do anything for this money. Dude, you got me fucked. I'll do anything for this money. It's kind of like that's exactly what happened in the script as well. Why can't I say paralleling? Paralleling. I don't think that's a word, bro. I think I'm just making shit up.
Immediately called Marty, said there's an actor out there that, you know, really feels like they're the person for the job. But I think Marty met him a week later, and I heard it was one of the best meetings he'd ever had with an actor.
It's a
and
word.
hired him.
I'm just an idiot. Go figure.
I'm kind of on the spot, and in a lot of ways, Jonah Hill set the tone for this film. I think he really is one of the most unbelievably talented improvisational actors I've ever gotten the opportunity to work with, and took scenes in directions that we never even thought possible.
Donnie is probably in contention with being Jonah's most memorable performance next to Superbad. Although Wolf of Wall Street is a comedy, Jonah approached the role with a level of commitment that went beyond just being the funny side character. He fully leaned into the world of the film, making you believe he truly was this desperate, greedy, power-hungry, twisted businessman who was constantly on hard drugs. But again, more fame meant more attention from the media, who wanted to push him to his limits.
Heather, I'm singling you the fuck out right now. You've never watched Wolf of Wall Street? Get off the stream, close your phone, open up whatever fucking streaming service has it, and watch it right now. Don't piss me off.
Except this time, he would have to make a formal apology for his actions. On May 3rd,
Wolf of Wall Street is one of those movies you literally have to watch like once a year. It's that good.
2014, Jonah Hill was walking through the streets of Los Angeles as 2 paparazzi followed him, filming him.
I like the shorts though, bro. They are pretty sexy.
For the next minute or so, they followed behind him, not saying much, but filming and taking pictures. Typical annoying paparazzi. However, at the end of the interaction, Jonah called the cameraman the homophobic F-slur.
Have a good day. Enjoy. Suck my... Oh, a real bully.
At the time, many of Jonah's fans defended him, suggesting the paparazzi were annoying stalkers. But Jonah decided to use some time on his Jimmy Fallon appearance to apologize for using the word.
You know, I didn't mean it in a homophobic way. I think that doesn't matter. You know, how you mean things doesn't matter. Words have weight and meaning. And the word
you did not need to do this, man. Fuck that nigga.
I chose was grotesque, and, you know, no one deserves to say or hear words like that. I've been a supporter of the LGBTQ community my entire life, and I completely let
the members of that community and everybody else down when I used a word like that this weekend.
Apology accepted. He seemed to be very genuine. That was very responsible and mature of him. Instead of discussing his upcoming film, 22 Jump Street, many mainstream programs were refocused onto his controversy. When speaking with Howard Stern, Hill said, "I think I'm pretty good at making movies, but I am not good at being a famous person." After 22 Jump Street grossed over $330 million at the worldwide box office, Jonah Hill had officially stamped his legacy as one of the best comedic actors of the early 2000s and 2010s. It seemed like everything he was cast in became an absolute smash hit, but he still had moments where he felt like he had to call out disrespect from the media. In a confrontation live on French television, the female co-host made frequent references to Jonah Hill getting sodomized in his movie This Is the End. As he received the translations through an earpiece, the host continued with another joke about a fantasy she had about Hill, saying, "We would meet up in a hotel room at night. We would chat, you'd make me laugh, then all of a sudden you'd bring your friends DiCaprio and Brad Pitt, and then you'd go away," implying that he was too unattractive for her to sleep with him. In response, Jonah said, "I'm glad I came on this show to get ridiculed by your local weather girl." It initially appeared that Jonah was simply laughing the joke off and sending friendly shots back, but his response was completely genuine, and after, he canceled all future media appearances he was scheduled for in France. The interviewer eventually apologized on camera with the statement, "Jonah, the problem is that for 10 years I have lived with you through your films. In fact, Jonah, I really had the impression that I knew you. So last Friday I thought I was just messing around with a friend, but the reality is that we are not friends." This once again reinforces the friendly buddy-buddy.
Damn, I don't know if this was a goddamn paid promo, you know, for me to get sympathy points out of us for Jonah Hill, but it's working, bro. I feel like they doing this nigga dirt the whole way.
Image a comedic actor is expected to maintain in the eyes of the general public. Jonah is expected to be able to take a joke at his expense and shoot the shit with anyone who feels like calling him fat or ugly, but when he cracks back or tries to correct them, he's the problem.
First of all, you smell good, which is surprising.
Why is that surprising?
I don't know. I just wouldn't think of a guy who would have a nice scent on, and it
that's
seems
such a like. I'm gonna really work hard to not take that as a shot. You know what I mean? Like,
he's not even laughing. Like this. Damn, bro. How did he end up in this position as such a like respected actor? At least to me as a fan, I like. Why is everyone in the industry just playing with him? Stop like that.
To not take that as a shot. You know what I mean? Like, because I think you would smell nice.
A 2016 article best describes the sort of limbo that Jonah was stuck in. Despite establishing himself as a legitimate actor worthy of Oscar recognition, he was not taken seriously in the eyes of the public. The hilarious
At this point, I promise you, I'll just be doing no more interviews. If this is how they're gonna treat me, like I'm gonna keep doing my thing, keep creating, and you know, doing what I love. But I'm straight off the interviews. I would never do another interview ever again.
Sidekick roles make up a numerically small but neon bright portion of Hill's career, and no number of contrasting performances can seem to override the public impression of him as a man who might, at any moment, start humping the furniture. Unfortunately for Jonah, the public's perception of him would never change. His desire for approval as a serious actor, paired with his inability to manage the stress of stardom, led him to moving away from the silver screen and stepping behind the camera, focusing more on writing and directing. His first major film he directed in 2018 was called Mid-90s.
This movie was amazing.
Which was an awesome debut. It is a coming-of-age film about youth skateboard culture in Los Angeles in the 90s.
If y'all don't know, I'm really like, I might need to start a movie channel in this bitch. Real life movie critic. Come on now.
It wasn't a box office banger, but most definitely a classic that I and many other skate fans thoroughly enjoyed. He hadn't stepped away from acting entirely, but his new focus allowed him to fade from the public view while remaining a part of the creative process he fell in love with. His shift in career direction also marked a willingness to be more open about his insecurities and the difficulty he faced early in his career.
I became famous in my late teens and then spent most of my young adult life listening to people say that I was fat and unattractive, and it's only in the last 4 years writing and directing directing my movie mid-90s that I've started to understand how much that hurt. I really believe everyone has a snapshot of themselves from a time when they were young that they're ashamed of. For me, it's that 14-year-old overweight and unattractive kid who felt ugly to the world and wanted so badly to be accepted by this community of skaters.
However, even as he stepped away from the big screen, his physical appearance remained a topic in the press. The late 2010s were plagued with articles discussing Jonah's weight, and it appeared that there was nothing he could do without it being brought up. One of the best examples of this is the Daily Mail. It has been documented that Jonah had lost 40 pounds after he stopped drinking beer, a decision he made all the way back in 2016.
That's so crazy. Like, yo, y'all making headlines because a nigga lost weight. And it's like maybe once or twice if it was like in a positive light, like, hey, you know, shout out to this person, look like they're taking their health seriously. But just to like pound for pound, the whole journey, just, oh, he's losing more weight. Oh no! It's like, oh my God, bro. You guys are vultures.
The Daily Mail would consistently find ways to shoehorn this fact into any article they could, regardless of its relation. Jonah making a quick stop at the coffee shop, they wrote, he lost 40 pounds when he cut out beer in 2016. Surfing with some friends, they wrote, Jonah Hill pulls down his wetsuit in Malibu to show off his bare chest filled with several large tattoos after losing 40 pounds. And after years of this, Jonah responded to a 2021 Daily Mail article, once again about his body while he was at the beach surfing. I don't think I ever took my shirt off in a pool until I was in my mid-30s, even in front of family and friends. Probably would have happened sooner if my childhood insecurities weren't exacerbated by years of public mockery about my body by press and interviewers. So the idea that the media tries to play me by stalking me while surfing and printing photos like this and it can't faze me anymore is dope. As tragic as Jonah's history of—
Damn, bro. This shit's literally sad. Like, this is crazy.
ridicule was, it was nice to see that he had finally made peace with himself and his image. He continued to embrace this new image with a body positivity tattoo and became a cultural symbol for self-love. However, this was a double-edged sword. It wasn't just negative comments that bothered Jonah, but even positive comments about his appearance were deeply upsetting to him. I know you mean well, but I kindly ask you not to comment on my body. Good or bad, I want to politely let you know it's not helpful and doesn't feel good. Much respect. It was only a matter of time before all of this would compound, and Jonah would announce a departure from the public eye to manage and deal with what he describes as a 20-year battle with severe anxiety attacks. It was clear that Jonah had become much more vulnerable in the latter half of his career. He had spent years being ridiculed for one of his deepest insecurities, but was now exposing his most sensitive struggles for the world to see with new confidence. This was thanks in large part to his commitment to therapy and relationship with his therapist, Dr. Phil Stutz. Jonah was so deeply impacted by this that he documented himself attending real therapy sessions in a documentary titled Stutz. The film
Didn't hear about this. Maybe I'll check it out.
Seeks to normalize therapy and introduce those who may be skeptical of the process. Dr. Stutz discusses a concept he describes as tools, which are—
I was thinking about going to therapy. Do any of y'all have like experience with therapy? Give me your honest feedback with it. I was thinking about going to therapy. You know, one of my coaches, or I shouldn't say one of my coaches. Shout out to Coach why can't I speak? Shout out to my coach, Urbina, man. He was is a big role model in my life. And when my dad passed away, he's really stepped up to the plate for me, even up to this point. Again, I'm about to be turning 30 years old this weekend, May 3rd. And, you know, he continuously calls me and checks in on me. He was telling me that I should probably go to therapy about that shit. And, you know, I wasn't against it. I was thinking about it. I feel like I'm going to at some point, but, you know, I've never really I don't know, I've just never done it. Because I feel like I'm one of those people that feel like, it's like I know there's something wrong, but I feel fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know there's something wrong, but I feel fine. I'm high functioning, I'm smiling, I'm living out my life. But there's like something there. So I don't have this urgency to go do it. But yeah, I've heard it actually helps.
Essentially coping mechanisms and mental habits you can utilize in moments of stress and discomfort. These tools are the backbone of the documentary's narrative, and Jonah emphasizes their importance in helping him manage the many stresses of his life. However, it would come to light that Jonah hadn't entirely used these tools for good, and he would be accused of weaponizing the lessons he learned in therapy to control and manipulate his ex-girlfriend. Jonah Hill made viral—
Did she say that? Or are these just speculations again?
headlines in July of 2023 when his ex-girlfriend Sarah Brady exposed text messages he had sent to her 2 years earlier. Shortly after, he revealed that he and his current girlfriend were having a child. Plain and simple, if you need surfing with men, boundaryless, inappropriate friendships with men, to model, to post pictures of yourself in a bathing suit, to post pictures, friendships with women who are in unstable places, and from your wild recent past beyond getting a lunch or coffee or something respectful, I am not the right partner for you. If these things bring you to a place of happiness, I support it and there will be no hard feelings. These are my boundaries for romantic partnership. My boundaries with you are based on the ways these actions have hurt our trust. Two things in particular.
Jonah sent that to her. Am I tripping here? This nigga said, don't bring up your exes. Don't fucking slut yourself out on the internet. Let's stay loyal. Let's respect each other. And these are my boundaries for a relationship. And motherfuckers are calling that manipulating. Am I tripping here? Am I the one that's lost? Am I the elephant in the room?
Stand out. Number one, Sarah is both a professional surfer and
Appreciate
model.
the follow.
Jonah specifically tries to restrict her ability to do those things to continue their relationship. It's also worth considering that Sarah had been doing both of these things prior to when the two started dating in 2021. Almost immediately into the relationship, Jonah began making subtle implications that he was uncomfortable with her lifestyle. He writes, "Oh, and modeling, which is the last profession I would be with as a partner." She replies, "Well, maybe you should have asked me more about what I do for work before you decided to date me then." Jonah replies, "Keep taking me for granted."
Okay, well, this is where I can give Jonah some constructive criticism. I mean, at the end of the day, if the bitch was a goddamn model before you met her, I mean, shit. You can't expect her to just pack her bags and literally give it all up just because you said so. That's not cool. This is probably the first part in the video where I'm like, all right, Jonah, you're kind of tripping here. If this is exactly what happened. You know, you're definitely victimizing yourself here. But I mean, but at the same time, if you are in a relationship and you are respectfully noticing that you're not comfortable with something and you bring it up to your partner and it's like, hey, yo, no, this is a deal breaker for me. If I don't think I can be with you respectfully if we can't make some adjustments that we can both be comfortable with. I mean, is that crazy? Is that like you're now a toxic, manipulative person? Why can't I speak today? Manipulative person by bringing it up? I don't think so. But yeah.
Sarcastically continues, "Go model. It's a fulfilling life. You'll love it. Real depth and substance and sustainability for relationships. But actually, I'm done with this convo."
He's definitely gaslighting a little bit. But out of this entire video, I feel like it's the first thing I can point and be like, that was kind of lame, Jonah. I can't cap.
Besides his seemingly insecure and petty attitude, much of the discussion was surrounding the usage of the word boundaries. Many felt as though Jonah was misusing the word entirely. On the surface, it sounds like he's being self-aware, like he's calmly communicating what he needs in a relationship and trying to avoid conflict. It frames him as someone who's being honest about difficult topics instead of lashing out or controlling someone outright, and that's what caused many men online to rush to his defense.
Yeah, he's insecure.
Yeah.
But like, he's not saying like you can't be a human being. He's like, I wish you well. I just personally don't want you posting your ass on Instagram. I just personally don't want you going on these little surf dates with other men. I just personally don't want a part.
I'm not mad at that. And that's why I said, like, I genuinely am not mad at Jonah being like, look, man, these are deal breakers for me. And if you can't, if we can't align with this shit, I just need to go on and do my business dolly. I'm not mad at that. But what I do think is lame, which I saw in those text messages, whereas it started to kind of turn into gaslighting a little bit. But overall, I mean, shit. God forbid a nigga create some boundaries, like, holy.
Can do that. And if you need to do that, you go for it. I wish you the best. You got it. But I can't have that.
I think he did a pretty good job. My boundaries are this. I don't like that, I don't like that, I don't like that, I don't like that. Isn't that what we wanted? People to express themselves? People to be able to just say what they want? Not keep that inside? Not bottle up? That's what he did. Now, Sarah has a choice to stay or to get. That's it.
However,
Facts.
others interpret Jonah's words entirely the opposite way. Instead of setting boundaries on his own behavior, he's outlining restrictions on hers, what she can wear, who she can be around, and even the career she had.
Oh, brother, shut up. I mean, at the end of the day, he put his shit out there, and that's her job to put hers out there. Like, what the fuck?
Before they met. So while it's packaged as vulnerability and communication, it can also be interpreted as him attempting to pressure her into changing her lifestyle to surrender to his expectations.
Again, the only thing I'll say, and I feel like I said this, so I'm sorry for pausing again, but it's like, the only thing I'll say is if the bitch was already modeling before you met her, it is kind of like crazy to think that she's just supposed to get up and change her whole life just because you said so. I think that's crazy. And Jonah, if you went into that situation seeing that that's the type of stuff that she's into, I mean, bro, what did you expect? But other than that, if you're, you know what I'm saying, if that wasn't the case, like, I don't see the big deal.
Sarah also shares a text conversation shortly after an argument. She voices her frustration at the restraint she feels in the relationship, noting that she was constantly trying to avoid an uncomfortable situation or argument. She looks for reassurance from him, describing her insecurity that he would eventually leave her. However, Jonah responded with hostility and passive aggressiveness. You're right. We can't do surf social things or develop trust until you consider me and make decisions that give regard to our relationship. I have been as vulnerable as possible, and I'm telling you I am needing you to step up to the plate, which you can, I am sure of it, but these losers don't get your time if you want me. Straight up, it's consideration. If you want marriage and family, you can't use the 25 card. Step up and cut These people don't get your time or your kindness at the sacrifice of minds. It was also revealed that Jonah was forcing Sarah to remove pictures or videos he found to be inappropriate from her social media, once again saying, "I've made my boundaries clear," and using degrading language like, "It's not my place to teach you." It appears that Jonah would constantly give Sarah an ultimatum: delete these pictures, don't
Yeah, I think he's doing a little too much now. Listen, she don't want to delete the pictures, then just leave her, bro. Just leave her.
hang out with these people.
If she's a fucking surfer, like, goddamn, she might have a couple of pics with her ass in the in the frame because she's surfing, bro. Just leave her, bro. Just leave her. You had me in the first half. Now you went overboard, dude.
Or you don't respect me and I'll break up with you. He consistently brings up that Sarah does not respect him when it doesn't read like he has much respect for her.
Again, pausing again. Holy shit, I see the comment section now. Berto, shut the fuck up. You paused 1,000,000 times this video. I know. But if you're in a relationship and the conversation of breaking up keeps popping up, just fucking break up. You know what I'm saying? I feel like you should never be in a relationship and the idea of breakup is just being swang in your head. You know, like over your head. It's like, I'm going to break up with you. I'm going to break up with you. If you don't do this, I'm going to break up with you. It's like, all right, bro, let's just fucking break up. You know what I'm saying? That shit's weird to me. You know, the conversation of breakups really should never even be coming up. When you are in a relationship, at least dating to go for the long distance, you know what I'm saying? For the long haul, it's like, why does every disagreement, I feel like our relationship is being threatened? Like, that shouldn't be the case. I should be in a place where it's like, let's talk about this and let's agree to disagree, and with the understanding that we're in this together and we're going to figure it out. But every single time that we fucking have a disagreement, I got to like now question if we're even together. Like, bro, I'm not dealing with that. You bring up breakup 1-2 times on everything I love, I'm gonna just break up with you.
Either take some accountability and operate with respect. It's that simple. F that contest, F that place, and F not respecting me in every situation within surf culture, or you don't get it and you don't get me. It's hurtful and unacceptable to me. All of this seriously begs the question why he would start dating someone who clearly doesn't live a lifestyle that conforms to his own. Why would he choose to date a bikini wearing surfer with allegedly tons of toxic friends if they violated his boundaries? It came across to many that he was extremely extremely insecure and trying to change a woman who he was likely not compatible with. Others that defend Jonah see this as nothing more than clear communication. He's being blunt and maybe a bit hostile, but he is angry, and we all get angry. And others see his communication as calculated usage of therapy speak. Dude's a prime example of someone who learned just enough therapy speak to weaponize it against others. Geez, you don't have boundaries, you're just a controlling act. This was easily the biggest controversy of Jonah's career, with countless media outlets labeling his behavior as abusive. However, even those who were opposed to the way Jonah was speaking to his girlfriend were quick to say that this was not abuse. Insecure? Yes. Rude? Yes. Toxic? Potentially, but not abuse. This created a...
I think fair enough, bro. I don't think we need a... We live in 2026, the word abuse is being thrown around too lightly. Is the nigga insecure? Sure, bro. I mean, goddamn it, he was Hollywood's punching bag for 10 plus years. I'd probably be insecure too. You know what I'm saying? But to just go around calling abuse, I mean, I don't think she's in a cage somewhere. No, it's not abuse.
PR disaster for Jonah, but he chose to stay silent in regards to the situation. However, he did respond through his lawyers after Zoe 101 actress Alexa Nicholas accused Jonah Hill of shoving her against a door and kissing her without her consent when she was 16 years old and he was 24. His attorney, Marty Singer, responded calling Alexa's accusations a complete fabrication, adding that it never happened and that she was a serial accuser who has made assorted accusations against multiple men in the entertainment industry. Jonah has continued his separation from the spotlight and hasn't made any form of public appearance since the call-out. Still to this day, most of what you see from him is paparazzi capturing photos of him on the streets of Los Angeles, still commenting on his weight loss whenever they see him looking different. He recently made headlines again after being pictured looking completely unrecognizable.
What the fuck? Oh my gosh.
Although it's worth clarifying, he was on set for a movie he's
okay.
starring in. Jonah Hill's Hollywood legacy is a strange one. He's undeniably one of the iconic comedic actors of his generation, responsible for hilarious performances that have lasted decades, yet the conversation around him rarely stays focused on his work for long. It always drifts back to his body, his personality, his relationships, anything but the thing that made people pay attention to him in the first place. And no matter what version of himself he presents, there's always a reason to critique it. If he leans into comedy, he's unserious. If he tries to evolve, he's pretentious. If he speaks his mind, he's toxic. And if he stays quiet, he's guilty. And that's the uncomfortable reality of his career. To a lot of people, Jonah Hill just can't do anything right. But at least he gave the world some amazing comedy films. That stretch of early 2000s comedy movies was one of the greatest runs in history. But now, comedies are dead. But check out this video.
Word, man. Wow. Now that last allegation's crazy, and if there's any truth to that, weirdo. But I'm gonna go ahead and hope that that's not true. I'm not gonna say that it is not true, but I hope that's not true. I love y'all, appreciate y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this one, man. I think Jonah had it hard though, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I definitely feel like the industry did him dirt. I don't think he deserved all that. Love y'all, appreciate y'all. My name is Berto. Where you at, Berto? Join the Where You At family so you never miss a live stream reaction live on Twitch. Link to that's in the description, and I want to see you guys there in the next one. YouTube.
Where you at, Berto?
I made this shit look too easy.